1, 2, 1, 2. Is this mic on? Oh, hello. I am Johnny Massacre, and welcome to the Johnny Massacre show. On tonight's show, this is the special Sunday show, and it is known as the Week in Review. So we recap what happened this week. What did happen? Well, loads of statues came down. Some bastard pulled down statue. I am sitting at home. I am watching on televisions, and statue coming down yesterday. Many of them. Great American founder, now dead. Poor founder on the ground. No one can find him no more. Also, PS5 seen in the wild. PS5 Sony consoling was holding by man in factory. In other news, Premier League football restarted. My beloved Arsenal team, they lose 2 times. Fuck you, bastard. Also, Chop is a flop. The autonomous zone in middle of Seattle, it is communist hellhole. It is burning to the ground, and it is a flop. And finally today, Yale is racist. Yale University was founded by slave owner. All this and more on tonight's Johnny Massacre show. So, loads of shit's been going on this week. Let's talk about it. First up, as I said, loads of statues have come down, so I'm going to do a random ad-lib today and just tell you what I think about it. So yeah, this is going on. So many statues are coming down now. I'm not really that surprised when I see the news of another statue coming down, but the people who are taking down the statues don't realize that some of the people they are taking down are actually not so bad. One of them was apparently instrumental in getting rid of the KKK, but obviously that isn't good enough by today's woke standards. So loads of statues coming down. I don't really know all the details, but I do find it shocking that this is kind of being allowed to happen. Where are the police? Oh, wait, we want to get rid of them and defund them, right? Well, I guess this is a great argument for defunding the police. So we basically end up in a dystopian post-apocalyptic hellhole where people just run around tearing shit down. What could possibly go wrong? In other news, a Sony PlayStation 5 has apparently been spotted in the wild in its natural habitat, which is a factory. So people are saying this might be a fake, but why don't you have a look anyways and you make up your own mind? Right, let's have a look. PS5. Yeah, rolled off the factory line, says Screen Rant. Have a look for yourself. Here it is. There's the PS5. And look at this guy holding it. If you cannot see what's going on, I'm going to narrate to you. So there's a factory with a green floor, and there's 3 Asian-looking men. The one in the middle is proudly holding what appears to be a Sony PlayStation 5. And it just looks like a piece of white shit with a PlayStation logo on. Doesn't really look that fancy. In the background, it looks all a bit techie. There are plastic screens dividing some of the workbenches, which are presumably to stop people contracting the C word. However, these 3 guys are not wearing their masks. So Sony PlayStation 5 and the C word go together pretty well, as you can see. There's not really much else to say. So nobody knows if this is real or not, but I reckon it's real. That looks kind of real. And it's fucking massive. Look at the size of it. On one of the last shows I did reveal how massive the PlayStation 5 was. And yeah, you can see if this really is a true photo of the PS5, it genuinely is massive. And if it is real, it looks like a bunch of nothing. It's a blank square. There's nothing on it other than a tiny logo. So if you set it up like that in your apartment or your house and it's facing you, the white side is facing you, it's possibly the blandest design of all time. So there you go. PlayStation 5 apparently seen in the wild. In other news, the Premier League has restarted. So the Premier League, for those who don't like football or sport, it's football, not soccer, because, well, British people invented fucking football, mate. So you got to call it football. Also, Americans, what language are you speaking? Oh, yeah, it's English, right? So you owe me your fucking life, and so you better call football what it's supposed to be called, which is football and not soccer. Just joking, call it what you like. Anyways, the Premier League is football or soccer, and it was postponed like a lot of other sports because of the C word, and it started again recently. And as you know, there's been loads of Black Lives Matter stuff going on recently. I think they bend the knee to Black Lives Matter, which is basically a Trojan horse for democratic policies, and got involved in all that bollocks, which no one wants to see in sport. Nobody wants politics. People watch sport to get away from all the crazy shit. They watch sport to get away from the dystopian apocalypse, burning down their neighborhood outside. But no, we can't get away from that in the Premier League. Anyways, it seems as if you so much as breathe on a person who isn't the same color as you these days, you are a racist murderer. And so I was surprised to see that no red cards were really given out. There weren't many red cards. And it's lucky they weren't given out, because if the referee gave out any red cards to any people that weren't white, I'm pretty sure the referee would be in jail right now and on trial for attempted homicide, and he would be facing the death penalty. So it's lucky that didn't happen. The reason I bring this up is because I support a team called Arsenal Football Club. It's a London team. We wear red, and we're a bunch of cunts. We're terrible. We lost 2 fucking games already. So the empire has crumbled, and Arsenal Football Club are no more. So I'm really depressed about that. But fuck it. Fuck football. I don't care about it anymore. But I'll be tuning in next week to experience more pain and agony in the Premier League. In other news, CHOP is a flop. So CHOP is the autonomous zone in Seattle, was renamed from Chaz. Both names sound fucking stupid. Chaz sounds like your stoner mate who eats Cheetos for breakfast. And CHOP sounds like some character in a racist kung fu movie. I thought you guys aren't racist. Anyways, so CHOP, it's all fucking kicking off in CHOP. So you want to see what happened there? Well, recently, I think yesterday actually, a 19-year-old man died and another is in critical condition after a shooting in CHOP during an organised protest. So I thought CHOP is supposed to be really nice and all rainbow shit and unicorns, but actually, well, it's a place without any police and a load of fucking libtard hippies roaming the streets. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, I'll show you what went wrong. So Raz Simone, who's the cunt, who's the dictator, who's taken over CHOP apparently, because no one's got the balls to stand up to a beta male, what with most of the population of CHOP being Zetas. He's the one who speaks for CHOP, and CHOP's dictator said, medics refused to help even after people in the CHOP begged. Begging like bitches, I might add. I would expect nothing less from all you numpties living in CHOP. They let our bro bleed out for 30 minutes till he died. Fuck politics, fuck your corrupt system. Well, I've got news for you, Raz. The emergency services are available to people who pay taxes who live in America. The taxes that you pay as an American citizen fund the emergency services. And CHOP is not part of America, so claim the people of CHOP. There are signs saying you are now leaving America. So starting your own country is hard, isn't it, you cunt? So you better start collecting taxes or your gangster money from the local people, and then you better build your own emergency services and build your own schools to train surgeons and doctors to take care of these people. Otherwise, you can just fuck off and give it back to the people you stole it from, like all the other commies should do. So what else is going on this week? Well, Yale, the university, is named after a slave trader. Can you believe that? So now everyone's kind of going back through the history of brands and stuff and everything of what people have said over the last 20 years on Twitter. And anything that is even could mildly be construed as racist is being brought to the fore, and people are getting cancelled left, right, and centre. You got some hot sauce that had a redesign because it had a black lady on it, when the great granddaughter of that woman said she was devastated. They changed the illustration, and they said it destroyed her legacy. You got the statues coming down, of course. You got Gone with the Wind being removed. You've got John Cleese and Fawlty Towers, one of the most classic comedies ever, getting removed from the BBC. Some of these are getting reinstated with warnings and shit, trigger warnings, because we're all retarded infants and we need to have our asses wiped by Big Brother and the nanny state. And continuing from that, so people started to look at the histories of some of the woke institutions that are for all of this censorship. And it turns out they are now going to have to cannibalize themselves under the same logic that they use to tarnish anyone they don't like, aka conservatives. For example, the Guardian newspaper, it has ties to slavery. It was funded by slavery. The Guardian newspaper is so left-wing, it couldn't possibly be any more left-wing, or it would just go all the way around the world and would become right-wing. And people are calling for them to be cancelled, which is delicious irony, and I like that. I feel a nice sense of schadenfreude when I see The Guardian was actually made by slaves, and they are telling other people to disappear, and they're saying that other people should be cancelled for imagined metaphysical links to slavery that don't even exist in the current system, but they literally are linked to slavery, The Guardian. And now Yale apparently is named after a slave trader. So now, of course, Yale, being a bastion of liberal values, should cancel itself and just disappear. Who was Elihu Yale that Yale University is named after? Well, it's on Wikipedia, mate. Why don't we have a look at it? In the first fucking sentence, it mentions slavery. That's how much of a slave trader Elihu Yale was. So look, Elihu Yale was an American-born British merchant slave trader, president of the East India Company settlement in Fort St. George at Madras, and a benefactor of the collegiate school in the colony of Connecticut, which in 1718 was renamed Yale College in his honor. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? So why the fuck did they name it after this guy? Well, in 1718, Cotton Mather contacted Yale and asked for his help. Mather represented a small institution of learning that had been founded in 1701 in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, as the Collegiate School of Connecticut, which needed money for a new building. Yale sent Mather 417 books, a portrait of King George I, and 9 bales of goods. These last were sold by the school for £800 sterling. In gratitude, officials named the new building Yale. Eventually, the entire institution became Yale College. So Yale University was created by the investment of a slave trader. And not only that, he was a corrupt slave trader. If you read more on Wikipedia, he was bad even by slave trading standards, which was normal at the time. He got fired, basically, for being corrupt. So all that money that he took from abusing the Indians in the colonies, he used that to fund Yale. And I just think this is amazing. So therefore, by this current logic, and due to cancel culture, Yale needs to be destroyed and burnt to the ground. Because when people are angry because of slavery, whatever they do in anger is justified. So I'm not saying this is right, in my opinion, but the news have said that burning shit, rioting and looting is okay because slavery. So if you feel offended by this, the media basically say it's okay for you to go to Yale and burn it down. So I look forward to seeing that happen because, well, any healthy, normal society needs stuff to be burned down and needs to be descending into oblivion and Armageddon. That's what we've learned in the last week and actually the last month. So that's pretty much it for the week in review. That's what's been going on. It's a little bit negative, but let's just be real. Let's face reality. I've been Johnny Massacre, and I tell you what, mate, you better be back for the next video, or I'll be coming around your house. Make sure to like and subscribe, because that's what all those other cunts tell you to do. Laters.